Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to a very early, for us, well, back to how it always used to be, I suppose, on a Sunday, but we are live. It is 1 p.m. We're here to discuss yesterday's game, and it featured a lot. It had a red card, Town losing 1-0, and then, of course, abandoned in the 79th minute because of the waterlogged pitch. We're here to break it all down, discuss it all, and, of course, we've got our speak pipe voicemails, Matt. We have some left. Looking forward to hearing what they've got to say. And as always, get active in our live chat, like and subscribe. And we're partnered with Match Bingo and Stowmarket Osteopaths. But as we always do, let's kick it off with Town in 60. This is where we're going to give our truth, what we're thinking, what we're feeling. Matt, it's over to you. 60 seconds. Give me some punchy Sunday stuff. Let's go.
Punchy. Well, we got out of jail, didn't we? We played the get out of jail card yesterday. And if you'd seen the show on Friday, we were discussing, weren't we, how we thought the game might pan out. And my own take on it was that it could be very similar to the Preston one. And so it proved, because it was very nip and tuck. Ipswich were pretty toothless in and around the box. Jacob Greaves makes a game-changing error, did in the Preston game, gave away the penalty, now he gets sent off. And, of course, we concede the pen and we're 1 down. And I think anyone watching the game yesterday or listening on the radio, if you would never have put your mortgage on Ipswich getting back into that match with 10 men and 10 minutes remaining. So obviously God wears his blue and white. He decreed that this game's going to be, we're not going to be falling into another defeat. And the heavens obviously had opened, didn't they? I mean, look, this was right across the Northwest. They only had to see United, Chelsea, the rain there, Southend, one of my local sides. Their game was called off at Rochdale. So it was, so we got lucky. Now this to me suggests that Ipswich have got some work to do away from home.
A lot of work to do, I would suggest.
I was chatting to a very rain-soaked cruncher as he was driving back yesterday. I think our home form is going to be pretty good. Like we saw what we did to a sort of a confidence-depleted Sheffield United. We've got Pompey up next week. And often off the back of bad performances, Ipswich do get kind of winnable games. And that is obviously a very winnable game for us. But whether or not we're going to be conceding for the contending for the top 2 this season is whether or not we can get out of this rut away from home. Because we weren't very convincing against Birmingham in difficult circumstances. We couldn't get back in the game at Preston, and the rain saved us yesterday. So that's my take in probably 90 seconds, actually.
A little bit more than 60, but we'll accept it. And my take is we weren't good. We were not good yesterday. Even with 11 men, would you have fancied us? I thought not really. We didn't look like we were going to create much. A lot of question marks, as you say, away from home, how we set ourselves up, how we go about it. We're going to talk about some players' performances, because they did play 80 minutes. And while the result may be in limbo, and while that may be up in the air, there's still 80 minutes of lessons to be learned on how we performed, why it didn't quite go to plan, and how you need to improve. But I think you're right. Home form may well be good, but the away form has a lot to be desired for so far, having played 5/5.5, nearly 6 games of football.
Yeah.
And even if you view it through the lens of it didn't count, there's still a lot to take away. And Colin is in our chat, and he's putting some great comments in. We appreciate you, Colin. Blizzard, afternoon, lads. Wasn't able to join the Discord through, and the members posted when the links were working. Apologies, Blizzard. We will check that out, and we will make sure you get a link after the show, because I can't do it live, because that'll be too much for me to try and do it. Oh, it'd be far too much. But I think you're right. And it's going to be interesting to see how we proceed away from home, how we set ourselves up. But the flashpoint, which obviously is brought to you in association with Match Bingo, remember the word Town, all in caps, because we've partnered with Match Bingo to give you a deposit bonus. The deposit bonus is bonus cash, but it can't be withdrawn, but the winnings can be. A 10% bonus for using the word Town, all in caps. Remember, terms and conditions apply. If you're over 18s only, T&Cs apply. Be gamble aware. Visit begambleaware.org for more information. Mike D, defence and keeper looks awful, passing it around. So let's start with the flashpoint. The game abandoned. I've put a poll in the live chat, and I've asked basically, should it be replayed or not? Matt, what is your feeling on this? Should it be replayed or not?
Oh, it will definitely be replayed. I mean, there's only 3 options that they can allow. Replaying the game, which, if you look at every game abandoned ever through waterlogged pitches, has pretty much happened. So 99.99% of the time that happens. They void it and the result stands. Well, that's only because the game's been abandoned. If you think back to the Battle of Bramall Lane, Sheffield United, West Brom, when Sheffield United,
you can't really take that into any consideration because that was already a 3-0 game.
Exactly. So they got awarded that game 3-0 in the end. But I mean, a match abandon does come under that kind of thing as well, like not having enough players on one side. And then the one, what's the other one I've missed out? Just going back and playing 10 minutes. You sometimes get this on the constant. If I remember Real Madrid had a game where there was a floodlight failure or something. It was in the 90th minute. So everyone had to reconvene behind closed doors for the final 3 minutes. I don't think that's ever happened in the Football League. So I think the game will be replayed.
Yes. Well, I think for the integrity of the division, I think it has to be replayed because a lot can happen in 10 stroke
competitive fairness, they call it. Minutes. Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Because obviously a lot can happen, even a man down. But I asked ChatGPT the probabilities of what would happen, and 15 minutes left to play. A home win is 90 to 92% at the time. A draw is 7 to 9%, and away win 1%. If you had 20 minutes, because obviously that's the question mark: how much additional time is to be played? Colin, I think I've spoken with him this morning. He's saying something like 20 minutes left to play, 10 of normal, 10 or 15 of additional. Referee kept stopping it due to a technical error, whatever it was. I don't know why they can't just referee the game without these.
Oh, he's because I was just on the radio. Yeah, it was waterlogged. His tech. This is the problem, you see. Bring the tech into the football.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a downpour.
Yeah. So if you have 20 minutes left, then it does affect it a little bit. Home win 87 to 89% of the time. Draw 9 to 11. Away win 1.5 to 2%. So the percentages, the probabilities tell you that game was going to finish 1-0.
Yeah.
Town down to 10 men. The stats of the game don't help because we weren't exactly prolific in creating chances. 7 shots, 3 on target. They had 11-3. How do they weigh this all up? Because do they look at the probabilities at all based on how, across football in its entirety over the years, this is what's going to happen based on, those stats there. How do they weigh this up? Because,
I have no idea. It's going to be behind closed doors. We've only got to hope there's not a Norwich member on the board making the decision. I mean, it's retribution, isn't it, for the Oxford game, the fog, where we couldn't even see the other side of the stand. Do you remember? Now it's actually fallen on our side for once. It'd be done as it's kind of a loose term, isn't it? It's competitive fairness. And the competitive fairness is that you were still 10 minutes plus injury time away and the game couldn't be completed. Now, if I'm a Blackburn fan, I'm going to be pissed off because you went up against 10 men and cruising to a victory. So I can understand why they've been getting in on the comments on last night's show.
Absolutely.
With the raving ump, because we would have the same. For example, say next week we went up against Portsmouth, 10 men down at Portman Road, pisses down. Game's abandoned. We're all going to be on there moaning about it, aren't we? So it's going to be replayed. I mean, look, even if you go down into like the National League, I looked at one game. I think it was Scunthorpe versus Buxton about 2-3 years ago. They're in the 96th minute with Buxton, I think, leading, or Scunthorpe leading 2-1. And that got 96th minute. That got abandoned and replayed. So
and they'll probably take previous games and what's happened and how they've decided on those and use their decision. It's just interesting to know or think how they're going to come about. Because obviously for the integrity of that game, you're right. It's unfair. It probably is unfair to replay it because the game was heading towards a Blackburn win. The probabilities tell you that. But for the overall, when relegation, promotion, playoffs can be affected by a point, I think you've got to replay it, right? Because what if Blackburn miss out? What if Town miss out on the playoffs by 1 point? There'll always be what could have happened in a game of football when we know it takes 30 seconds to score a goal. It takes a corner, a slip and a penalty like Darnell Furlong, which we'll get to in a second. I think you've got to replay that game. And I hear the Blackburn fans, but it's kind of tough.
It is. I mean, look, you just look through the history of, like we said earlier, of abandoned games through waterlogged pitches. They get replayed. It's like boxing, isn't it? When they clash their heads or something, it gets ruled a no contest. It's effectively what we've had here. I mean, look, the EFL are going to take the easiest option. That's to replay the game. They're not going to open up a can of worms where they're going to say we're going to play the last 10 minutes or whatever, or the result's going to stand. Because then when you get these moments again, invariably later in the season or next season, then there's case history there for other sides to point to. So the precedent is, it's going to be replayed probably. I don't know whether or not they could fit it in the schedule this year or going into 2026. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Crypto says should be like a second leg. 1-0 start to Blackburn, full 90 minutes to turn it around. Fairest for both.
Adrian said, thank God you're not in charge of me.
Adrian says thought the ref could only do what he did. Sean, great point. The EFL can't win. One set of fans will feel hard done by. Shane said they should have abandoned it at half time.
Well, this is Crunch was telling me this. I mean, there was a school of thought that could have happened actually. I mean, McKenna says himself, doesn't he? Before the game starts, he called it slushy, didn't he, around the pitch areas? So maybe it shouldn't have gone ahead at all. But oh well, we are where we are now.
We are exactly. We are where we are. And if you look back on some of the clips and videos of the game as it unfolds, you can see the pitch is getting worse and worse. It played no part in the red card for me. The red card.
It's funny there was a red card in our game, and then you see the United Chelsea game. There were 2 reds in that, weren't there? Sanchez and Casemiro.
Yeah, but you can't blame the weather for Jacob Greaves draping an arm across.
No, maybe not. I mean, look, heavy pitch to run on. Just interesting to me. Absolutely teaming it down with rain. 2 games back to back. It's got 3 reds in there, and probably more in other games that was up in that location of the country.
Yeah, but what I found really interesting by the probabilities is that when you go down to a man sent off, and obviously your odds are greatly reduced at any type of result. Just to go back at what chat told me, if you had 15 minutes left, 7 to 9% chance of a draw at 1-0, an away win 1%. In that case, if I'm a manager, I'm going all out. If I go a man down, 10 minutes left, in my mind, what's the difference between losing 1-0 and 3-0? I would be trying to play.
I like how you're now embracing data.
Well, I just thought it'd be interesting to try and see,
if goals you used to dismiss. And now
of course I expect goals. It's a game of football. But I thought it'd be interesting to see if you took the results across the whole of Europe based on 80 minutes, man sent off, away team losing. Here's the match stats. What are the probabilities of the result playing out, and what would it be? I just thought it was really interesting to get those percentages because, there's no, as far as I'm aware, framework on how a decision will be made. We know how stat-heavy, data-driven football is. Will it play a part? I've got no idea. I just thought it'd be interesting to bring that to the party and say, hey, look, this is what it says.
Did you throw the element of town being toothless into your knowledge base as well? That's as well, isn't it?
No, I just told it, and the away team are useless. And it said, well, in that case, what are we doing it for? No, I just thought it was interesting. And in that case, as a manager, I'd be going all out. I'd be throwing on every attacking player I've got because the stats
McKenna don't do that, though, does he? McKenna doesn't do that.
He doesn't. And if we look at the red card situation, I can't argue too much with it.
No.
Can you?
No. I mean, other than was it Matt? To get his name right, is it Matash? I don't know what I'm asking you for. Is it Matashita? Is that his name? The Japanese kid who they launched the ball over the top. He never actually had control of the ball, did he?
He didn't need to. He had like 4 or 5 yards on Jacob Greaves.
Oh, Morishita? Or was it a Hashi? Might have been a Hashi. Yeah, exactly. He was too slow. He was on the wrong side of him. Didn't anticipate it. Again, the pitch doesn't help him. He can't get back. He's not the fastest anyway, is he? So yeah, I think if that had been round the other way, we'd all have been up off our seats at Portman Road wanting a red card, wouldn't we? Yeah, Greaves is flattering to deceive right now, especially as they've put all chips are in on Greaves.
Yeah.
They haven't given Burgess the new contract. He's gone off to Swansea. The starting
they offered terms to Cameron, didn't they? They offered terms. The club did what they could.
He wouldn't have caught up with them either. He was, as I said before, he was an old tanker turning around in the Mediterranean, wasn't he? But he had quite good positional sense, and he was good at blocking and clearing. But McKenna's put all his faith in on Greaves, and he's not really started the season that well, particularly. I mean, even in the 5-0 last week, I said he didn't start the game particularly well. I mean, forced out a corner, didn't he? It was completely needless right in the first few minutes.
Well, no, I put that on Alex Palmer's positioning because Alex Palmer's positioning for that situation there was neither help or not because
he wasn't. I'll give him the benefit.
He wasn't close enough to come for it, and he was in a bad position for the header back.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one, but he's cost us the game at Preston. Could have cost us the game yesterday because, as you rightly say, you're down to 10 men. And then you're trying to climb up a hill in flip-flops, aren't you? So difficult. So he won't play next week, of course, because even though the game's abandoned, the red card still stands. So you have to presume Kipre will come in alongside O'Shea. And it just goes back to the point we've made all season, actually, that O'Shea and Greaves, even though they've done a Premier League season pretty much together, look like strangers to me. I mean, it's telling that O'Shea had the most touches of any outfield player, I think, yesterday. Shows you how much the ball was in our third of the pitch, and he was having to kind of start the attacks.
And in the interest of being absolutely accurate, of course, Jacob Greaves did not have 4 or 5 yards behind their attacking player. I was exaggerating. I was making the point of how slow he'd reacted. He, of course, was level with him, and the arm got draped across, just in the interest of being absolutely spot on accurate. Because I know Richard Chandler's in the chat, and he's saying, how do you have 5 yards on him? I was being over the top exaggeration there, Rich, based on how slow he was in turning.
Yeah.
He switched off, Matt. It's simple as that. He switched off.
Yeah, he's not started the season as you'd expect someone who's done a season in the Premier League and cost us upwards of 15 million.
True.
And everyone's lamenting the fact that Burgess isn't there, and he cost us, 800 grand or whatever, a million from Accrington Stanley. A journeyman, really, as we've said previously.
Gone. Why? He's gone. You've got to move on. He's scoring goals for Swansea against Nottingham Forest in the Carabao Cup. You've got to move on from that.
Yeah.
They invested in Greaves. They've selected Greaves. Look,
but it just underlines we're not that how when you're defending like that, and we'll come to the penalty in a minute. When you're defending like that, you're not giving yourself, and you've got aspirations of being promoted with parachute payments this season and next. But you want to go back and be a Premier League team. That's not going to help you at all. We've not looked convincing in any of the away games.
Rax Max says Greaves must be playing a blinder in training. Kipri looks so much more solid. Richard Chandler, we've never been good defensive under McKenna, just outscored the position. Everyone needs to stop acting like Wolfe and Burgess were Maldini. They weren't and aren't. Absolutely agree with your point there, Richard. Yes, yeah. But as you said previously on this show, when you're out of the side, you generally get better than you do because people go, oh, why did we do this? Or why is he not playing?
All eyes on Kipri now, isn't it? For next week.
It is all eyes on Kipri. And from what we've seen of him, I've got no problems with him coming in and being that.
He's got a red card in him as well. And see what happens.
It was a red, and it is what it is. But my criticism of Ipswich, one of them, I've got many from yesterday, but one of many, is how we reacted after the red card. So you've got the conditions; they're not great. You're down to 10. And you've got that period where after going down to 10 men, Blackburn speed up their tempo. They start becoming a bit more hectic because they can smell blood in the water. Why are we playing it short from a goal kick? Why are we not, for those 5, 10, 15 minutes of that period, with the conditions, with 10 men, with the crowd now up and Blackburn now up, why are we not simply playing the Mick McCarthy percentages? Why are we not going long? And playing, do you know what? We'll play for second balls. We'll play in your half because we want to get high up the pitch and keep you as far away from our goal in this period where you're smelling blood in the water. But no, we go short. And we go short and we do it poorly. And then Darnell Furlong concedes the penalty. For me, I know we want to play a certain way. And people were saying, McKenna's style of play is one way. Fine. But you've also got to manage the game. Simple as that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's very interesting today. We've got Arsenal Man City as the Sky game this afternoon. There was an article on the BBC, go and check it out, that says actually their stats on both sides this season, when you consider the impact that Guardiola has had on like tiki-taka passing football, ditto Arteta, both their stats this season are showing they're playing a lot more long balls. So kind of deviated away from the template that McKenna himself has loved and tried to emulate across his tenure at Town. Yeah, exactly. It's brainless. Now, whether or not McKenna has told them, look, be careful passing out from the back at the moment, in the communication from the touchline, heavy pitch, ball isn't rolling that well. It's 0-0. We're down to 10 men. Exactly that. Play the percentages. Now, whether or not under pressure, people just default to type, I don't know. I don't like playing out from the back. I don't even think we're that good at it, to be honest with you. We weren't against Sheffield United. What did I say this time last week? Against better opposition, we're going to get caught out and we'll concede. Shock.
I disagree.
It happened yesterday.
Yeah, but I disagree. Do I disagree that we're not great playing out from the back? No, I think we are good playing out from the back. I think history has shown us that we are good at playing out from the back. I disagree. I think it's a risk and reward situation. You are drawing them on to beat a man, beat the press, and away you go. I disagree that we're not particularly good at it. What I do,
they're too sloppy with it, mate. And you haven't got Moulsey was the key to it, wasn't he? and he's not there anymore. Plus, when we were playing it out from the back, and it looked really good, and we was on a wave of momentum. Who was the keeper? Haladki, who was excellent. Who was excellent with his feet. I actually don't think Palmer's as bad as his feet as what everyone's making out. But Haladki was a level above, and all roads led through Morsey. I mean, it was just brainless, wasn't it? So Palmer to O'Shea, he plays that ball into kind of a no man's land, which Matasiwa is neither here or there. And then it forces Furlong in to make that kind of weird challenge on the back of his heel. And there's the
Well, he's running in, but
you've now created that yourself. Yeah, you've created that yourself. Ipswich, again, being sloppy, have created that themselves. They keep doing that. They're going to be in the top 6, let alone top 2.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's a different question. I mean, the amount of points you've got after 5 games is not. It's an awful start. It's an awful start. You've beaten a Sheffield United team that got beat again yesterday, despite having a new manager.
Yeah,
you've beaten the team that everyone's beating at the moment, and you've surrendered points. When really, if you're going to be a promoted side, you've got to be taking those points away from home. Certainly at home again. We took the lead against Southampton, didn't we? But they are a good side. Yeah. Hey, you take it any way you take it.
You do.
You take it any way you take it. But
I mean, look, that's an own goal. How did we get out of jail against Derby? The penalty. How did we get out of jail against Birmingham? A penalty. How did we get out of jail yesterday? Rain stopped play.
Rain stopped play, and Kieran McKenna had learned from Oxford.
I mean, look, we're not making this up. There's a list there of things there where Ipswich are getting lucky. In my
Arguably so. No. And I think you're right. I can't argue with that because it's there as fact. Fact doesn't care about your feelings at the end of the day, as we always say. But I just think for that period of time, we spoke about on Friday's show about the leadership council, as I called them.
You love that, don't you? I hope they're now calling it that internally.
Oh, they need to. They need to 100%. They need to. And just thank me every time they do. But I just think, okay, your manager wants you to play a certain way, but you've got to manage that situation, whether that's your captain or other senior players or whoever it is saying, no, Alex, we go long, or the goalkeeper himself. That has to be a situation where you pick up on the situation you're in, which at the time is a really bad one. And you have to suddenly go, we'll come back to playing from the back. We'll come back to our principles. We'll come back to our philosophy. We have to get high up this pitch. We have to see this period out because the weather is a hindrance, but it also can be a help because they've got to play through it as well. It isn't just in your half where it's terrible conditions when Town touch the ball. You've got to get high. You've got to get away from that 18-yard box because it was a penalty, but it equally could have been a goal from them just based on a poor sloppy pass or a slip. We saw it in many years ago, Liverpool, Steven Gerrard slipping. It can happen. You just got to get high and away from your pitch. That's my take on that situation. And I don't put any blame to Darnell Furlong. He's trying to make a recovery in poor conditions with his arm in the air. I think he's calling for offside.
He catches his heel and down he goes.
Absolutely. All right.
I was just going to quickly say, I mean, who scores the penalty? Todd Cantwell. I mean, just look at the difference of his performance yesterday to Akpom in the 10 yesterday. I mean, Akpom again was nowhere, not in the game at all, particularly. Yet all roads went through Cantwell in the same position. So that was just frustrating. And I think the sooner we can get Nunes into that midfield beside Matasiwa, the better. Because again, Cahuste, I mean, you just look at his stats. He lost the most duels in the middle of the park yesterday. 7. That's not good enough. And we know he's not even much of an attacking threat moving forward. I say this every week. The sooner you can get Nunes in there, that might instill a bit more confidence in being able to play out from the back and a bit of a safer pair of feet. And actually start threading between the defence so it's not reliant on O'Shea bringing the ball forward with all the touches and the passes to be able to connect McAteer or whoever, Philogene or Akpom. Like, I'm being critical of Akpom here, but he's got to be reliant on the midfield helping him out and feeding him the ball.
Yeah,
Nunes will do that 100% better than what Cahuste is doing at the moment. But there's a lot of love for Cahuste. Everyone wanted him back. I mean, I was 50-50 on that one. He's not looking that great either for me. Sooner Nunes is in, the better. I think you'll see a whole different style of play for Ipswich then.
I think this is where McKenna has done so well in the past. You've got to take it each game at a time. Now, I was a huge advocate for not changing the 11, having beaten a team 5-0, and he didn't change the 11, and I think that was the right decision.
It was, yeah.
But again, it comes back down to in-game management, and you've got to look at what's happening in front of your eyes on the pitch. And Blackburn were very hard to play through. There was very little space for a player like Karius, whose biggest asset is his ball carrying ability. It felt, with the conditions and the way Blackburn had set themselves up, it wasn't lending to his strength as a midfield player. So then you've got to think about what's happening. Okay, how do we break this down? And you mentioned Akpom. Akpom and Hurst were very isolated. Very isolated.
Hurst had 9 touches all the game yesterday. He might not be on the pitch. But, neither of those two are getting in the game because we can't get the ball. We can't play through the thirds of how we want to. Okay, the conditions play a part in that. Blackburn were managing it though. So we're just having excuses here, really. I think Nunes is going to be the difference maker. I really do.
Which is why I'm surprised we didn't see him come on at all yesterday.
Yeah, good point. I mean, he got half hour against Sheffield United, didn't he? But
even at 0-0 before the red card, you're not. I wasn't certainly fancying Ipswich Town to get back into the game. It looked very, very toothless. It looked very. Yeah. Where's the situation going to come from?
Yeah,
and I felt that was a change that kind of you had to make. You had to get a different kind of midfield player on to see if you could thread the needle, find a pass from nowhere, perhaps a set piece, which I know is a joke. Come on, my thoughts on set pieces.
But Nunes is a set piece taker.
Exactly. And it just didn't happen. And I know, obviously, the red card then changed perhaps how he wanted to make his substitutions, or it didn't. I don't know. I'm not Kieran McKenna. But for me, Nunes yesterday, with the way Blackburn has set themselves up, Rob Holmes says here, Karius running and fixing as a low block won't work. We need Nunes' guile in midfield, passing through the lines. It's exactly what I'm talking about here. And
it could be the key to unlocking the door for a lot of players, I think. Serving the ball up for Hurst to be able to run into the channels, to feed people in at the far post, ball to feet to Akpom, again, being able to get the ball out to channels, everyone overloading into the box. You don't get that from Cahuste, unfortunately.
No, but whereas a different game, when a team has set themselves up completely different, you probably will find more times than not, you say that was more of a Cahuste game than a Nunes game, because they're different types of midfield players with different strengths and different attributes. And yeah, there was just no space for Cahuste yesterday to really excel at what he does. McAteer is mentioned in our chat, but I have got some voicemails from some fans who have left the first one. And don't forget, you can do this whenever, really. It's open 24/7, 365. There is the link. You can leave a voicemail on any town opinion you've got. But I've got some. I want to play one because I think it mentions McAteer. Here it is. Can you hear it?
Town team. I have seen nothing from him that warrants the start over Eagly. I know we haven't seen much of Eagly, but I'm looking forward to it. McAteer just isn't living up to his price tag, and I can see why Leicester potentially got rid of him.
So there we go. That was on McAteer. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, actually, two of the big chance creations actually came through McAteer on the right-hand side yesterday, didn't they? I think it was the ball into the middle in the first 10 minutes for Philogene. I think I'm right in saying it was for Leif Davis for the other one. But again, you look at McAteer's defensive stats yesterday. Again, he lost a lot of jewels as well. Same amount as Cahuste, 6, 7, 8, something along those lines. So he was found wanting defensively yesterday. And the caller there is quite right. I mean, you haven't seen enough of Eagly yet to make that judgment. We have on YouTube clips in playing for Norway under 21s and within the Danish Superliga and all that kind of thing. But I mean, we keep saying you've just spent a championship transfer record on to bring him to the country, to bring him to the club. Sooner or later, he is going to be playing. I do think McAteer, the bits of listening and the highlights I saw, looked quite bright on the ball. But again, as we keep going back to, there's no bells and whistles around that signing. There is for Eagly. So I feel sorry for McAteer a little bit, but he does need to show something. But by the same token, he puts 2 balls in yesterday. Philogene scores, Leif Davis scores. He's got 2 assists. And we're 2 up or whatever. So I mean, it's all fine margins, isn't it? But Eagly's knocking on the door there. Be interesting to see whether or not he gets the nod against Portsmouth next week.
Trevor says, I was underwhelmed with the McAteer signing and nothing has changed my mind. That
was the context coming from Leicester fans as well, though, wasn't it? Oh, we're glad he's gone and all that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's kind of like seeps into our thinking a little bit. But look, as we've said before, he comes on or whatever, plays against Norwich, scores the winner. It's in Danny Haynes mode then, isn't he? Canary killer.
Yeah.
Forever in folklore.
that's a
He needs
what
a
if.
moment. He needs a Jack Clark moment.
Based on what we've seen.
Yeah.
As Trevor says, I've been underwhelmed. I have been underwhelmed, and look, I think he
Needs to show
works
more,
hard. I think he's the type of winger that works hard, tracks back. I mean, we saw a good recovery tackle from him in the second half, where I think they were breaking on us. So he works really hard, and I think he's a steady player where you're going to get 6 out of 10 every week from him. And, he's going to work really hard, leave it all in the field, give you 6 out of 10 at the very minimum. But when it comes to the actual, that's the question: is that enough? Ignore the price tag. He can't affect the price tag. That you could be £1, 12 million, 50 million. That don't care to me. What I care about is the production and what we're seeing. And I think right at the very end, when it matters, the quality has so far not quite been there from him. Whether it be that final.
Philogene should have done better with that, really. Given the finishes we saw against Sheffield United at Portman Road a week before, should have done better, really. He was central on the chances. They were just tame shots.
But do you get off your seat? Or do you even edge towards the edge of your seat when you get to the ball? No,
I'd agree with that. And I think that's kind of the X factor that maybe Eagley is going to bring to the table. I think it's going to be an interesting one. That he does need to show more. But like I say, fine margins. Philogene scores, he gets an assist. Would be the game finished 1-0, whatever. We've completed the 90 minutes. We'd all be sitting there going, actually, you look quite good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I do get the criticism that people are saying about him. I do get it, but some of it's context in the move from Leicester fans, I think.
Yep. We've got a question in our chat, which I'll come back to. We've got some more voicemails. What's this one going to say?
If we get away with this, if this game gets called off and the result gets abandoned, then we have got away with bloody murder.
Fair point.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah, no,
that's a fair point. Can't argue with that one. Can't argue with that one, really. We did get away with it.
Yeah, exactly that. As we said at the top of the show. Yeah, got out of jail there, as we have done in half the games this season.
Which leads into David's question in the chat, which would you still be calling for a replay if it was 1-0 up? Discuss.
We said this earlier, didn't we? What would it be like? So I can totally get. I know the Blackburn fans were coming in on the comments with you, Beep and Coxie yesterday with the ump, weren't they? And I can see why.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I can totally get it. We'd be exactly the same, but.
Which is why it will be decided by people who aren't associated with this.
Yeah, exactly. But we've had to suck this up against Oxford in the fog, so we've had it with us as well. I mean, that game should have been called off and wasn't, and we lose. Yeah, and we were in a promotion battle then, weren't we? So
yeah, but this is why it's going to be decided by independent, because obviously Blackburn and Town, you would have thought, won't agree. Blackburn will want to have it as a result. Ipswich Town will say, "Well, hold up, there is still time on the clock to get it back." They won't agree. It will go to the EFL, and that's why it won't be decided by people who have got, affiliations with the football club. Because you're right.
Yeah.
Look at the playoffs in the COVID year when they decided in League One how that was going to play out.
Back and forth all the time, wasn't it, with Wickham and that? Mm.
Yeah. So we all, we just know how it's going to be.
We'll take the easy option. It'll be replayed. that is what's going to happen. I'm 99.99% sure that's going to happen.
Absolutely. All right, George Hurst, you mentioned you had 9 touches in the game, which isn't a lot. What did you make of his performance yesterday? Because it hasn't been, brilliant from him.
No, but are you surprised though? This is panning out how we thought. It's not really his fault either. As we've said before, he's now having to fill the shoes of a £30 million striker that's gone to Chelsea, sadly now injured, but probably would have been in the running for a World Cup place. Maybe still will do. He has a good second half of the season to that. I hope he does. I don't understand why Ipswich didn't actively try and replace Delap in that, they were looking at Latte Laff, who was someone I was really keen to get in. They looked at him at that window in August, didn't they, when he was in the Premier League, and again in January, but didn't make any, as far as we know, didn't make any moves for him.
They have replaced Delap. They obviously viewed George Hurst as being somebody who was ready to fill into those shoes and be the man that's going to spearhead you back.
What has he ever shown you? What has he ever shown you in 2-3 seasons, whatever it is, that he could do that? Half the time he's injured. I like George Hurst. Wish him well. Want him to do well. But history shows you, sooner or later, he's probably going to be injured. And he's never actually had, in his whole career, on his shoulders spearheading what we require, which is goals, assists, 8 out of 10 performances, they're going to get this club promoted.
Yeah.
But now who's his backup now? Akpom or Ivan? And Ivan's adjusting to come into this country for the first time. So, I mean, we've said it at the time, it's a real dice roll. It really is. That's one of my main concerns. I know Smodics and the like can maybe fit in there, but it's a worry that for me. It's a worry that for me.
Yeah. Rob says, poor again from Hirsch. We really needed to sign a quality striker in the summer. Mike agrees with you, Matt. Striker needed in Jan. I would echo those. Yeah, definitely a striker needed in January. Blizzard says, George Hirsch definitely got more physicality and a bit of bite inherited from the lap, but he just can't muscle through defenders and get off a clinical strike. Rax Max Hope. Craig says, maybe we're after another striker and couldn't get it done. McKenna's not going to say, is he? No, well, no one's going to say anything.
It's a private reflection on that, I'd imagine.
That'd be a private reflection, yeah.
Yeah.
GVT, if this state of affairs persists during one of the international breaks, we'll be looking for McKenna's replacement. Ain't that? But no, look, I'm not
great. It's not that bad either, is it?
No, but the question mark, I suppose the real question is, at what point do you start?
You have mentioned this before. Oh, you did say this at the end of the Premier League season in the summer. We don't want to get into a position like George Burley where you get to October after we've lost 3-0 at Grimsby, for those as long as me.
Yeah.
And the fairy tale is over. Get Sheepshank sacks him. Then comes Joe Royal. No one wants McKenna's story to end like that, do they?
Well, no, absolutely. Of course not. And you've got to believe it won't end like that. And I'm not calling for it. I'm not advocating for it. I'm not particularly in the I want it side. But facts don't care about your feelings. We've been poor. You've already highlighted how you can call it luck if you want, whatever. We've had to score last minute goals in some games to get to the points we've got to so far. Where is the line between we give this is not you now personally or the chat personally. This is now, you think the leadership of the football club. Where's the line? Is there a line between we give it time to gel and patience versus we've invested, broken record fees, this is the body of work. Where's the line? Is there a line?
Is there a line? Again, it comes back down to what we just discussed with McAteer. It's fine margins, isn't it? We've got the lucky penalties against Derby and Birmingham. We've got lucky yesterday. I mean, the whole context of this show and McKenna's current status as a town manager would be completely different if we'd lost those games. Luckily, we've only lost one game at Preston, but the story could be so different thanks to act of God and 2 90-minute penalties.
Okay, so take a step back further. Further. Reflect upon the whole body of work over the last 2 years. We celebrated beating Sheffield United because that was the first time we'd won at home since December of 24. December of 24.
Exactly.
We started the season poorly. Now, this is not me calling for anything. This is me asking the questions and putting it out there as a devil's advocate of, where do you think the line is? Do they take it into consideration? I've got no serious idea. I'm a big believer of Kieran McKenna, and he's going to turn it around. This isn't about what I think; it's about where you feel, because it hasn't been great.
No, it hasn't. And luckily for us, we've got 2 home games coming up.
Yep.
Obviously, in between that is Bristol City away, which I think is going to be a very difficult game. So actually, let's say 3 games then. So you got Portsmouth. They lose 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday yesterday. Got to think that Ipswich can do something against them. Very difficult game against Bristol City. Having seen what I've seen away from home this season, I'll take a point at Ashton Gate. And then the big definer, isn't it? You've got Norwich in for the derby, where all this kind of, everyone always says all the form just goes out the window, doesn't it? So there's 3 big games there for Kieran. If it doesn't go our way in those 3 matches, it's going to be on thin ice. I think.
Do you think so?
Yeah. So certainly if you weren't. Certainly, if you've got disappointing performances against the Portsmouth, Bristol City, and Norwich always turn into Brazil 70, don't they? When they rock up at Portman Road and seem to put performances in against us.
It'd be better playing them at Carroll Road at the moment, I think.
Exactly that. Yeah. Colin mentioned it earlier, didn't he? Like, was it? It's the worst start they've ever had at Carroll Road. I think 3 defeats in their first 3 home games. They got booed off yesterday, losing 3-2 to Wrexham. So. Yeah, three big games coming up. Luckily, 2 of them at home. But like I say, the derby's always, I don't know. The derby is a funny one. And newsflash, when was the last time we beat them? 2009, as they keep reminding us.
Oh, I don't care about that. But the point is, because that's in the past, and we all know we can't talk about the past, right? That's their rules. That's their rules.
Their
That's
rules, yeah,
not me
yeah.
making the rule up. That's their rules. So, but look, personally, taking a step back, looking at the body of work, hasn't been brilliant. But then you take into the wider account the body of work, 2 promotions, galvanising a football club. Look, Kieran McKenna, I believe, this is my gut feeling, is going to, is a mute point, and is going to turn it around, and we're going to gel, and away we go. And you'll look back
You're
at this.
getting paid to say gel each time. You said it twice.
It should be. Alberto Balm, give me a call. Which is what I use, by the way. Instead of £1 in Tesco's, I don't know how it's been £1 for like 15 years. It's absolutely amazing how it stays at £1. Anyway, that's by the by. That's talking down, diverging again.
Yeah. I
think he's going to turn it around. And you'll look back at this part of the season. You'll probably do a few videos in 5 years' time, reflect upon it, and say, "Wow, there was question marks, comments when there really didn't need to be." But facts don't care about your feelings. It isn't a great start of the season. No. David says, give McKenna till Christmas, and I'm just interested from a point of view of the club's broken the record fee, come down from the Premier League. Surely there has to be a line between, like you're saying, 3 games. If they don't go well, he's on thin ice. I'm just really fascinated between where's the patience and how long it lasts.
Talking of gelling, when did Paul Cook get the elbow? It's after that Barrow game, wasn't it? So that was what, November, first round of the Cup.
Yeah,
heady days, first round of the FA Cup in the third tier. So that was kind of November time. So that might give you an indication. But yeah. I mean, look, I've got everything crossed that Kieran turns it round.
Oh, he will. He will. It's a fascinating point of view, because will they view it as a rebuilding season, and they're quite prepared to finish where they finish, providing it's obviously not in the bottom 3, which isn't going to happen. But is it a rebuilding season? And internally they're viewing it as that, and they're relaxed and it's calm, and it's always different things that, between like, we'll finish where we finish, but we're rebuilding, and if we don't go this year, we'll go again next year. Is it all hands to deck? Got to be top 6? Like I'm just fascinated by.
You run the risk of if you stay down this season, you're running the risk of a mainstay Premier League club coming down. Because at the moment, look at West. I mean, look, the grass isn't always greener. Look at Potter at West Ham. He's on very thin ice at the moment. Maybe he's got one toe in the water. Maybe Nuno goes in there. Ditto Wolves, beaten by Leeds. And scored a goal in open play. 1-3-1 at Molineux yesterday. Sunderland Villa today, isn't it? Interesting, really. But yeah, if you stay down, you run the risk of a Wolves or West Ham or somebody coming back into the Championship and just walking it next season.
Because David said Christmas. Mike D just said, looking at the McKenna Ashton piece, I'd say McKenna has the season, which is fine. I mean, that conversation.
In an ideal world, I think everyone wants that, but
you know how you avoid this conversation, don't you?
Win games
of football. Yeah.
We did have this conversation last season, didn't we? Are you going to stay loyal to Kieran McKenna and sacrifice your Premier League status? Well, they did in the end, didn't they? But then again, we couldn't think of any. I still really can't think of anyone who'd come in now.
But it is a what have you done for me lately business.
Exactly. Well, look at Sheffield United. Let's keep going back to Chris Wilder, don't they? As we said on Friday's show.
Yeah.
But don't be. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's absolutely ludicrous ownership, isn't it? To have got rid of a manager 3 times. Well, how many times they got rid of him to go back to him again? It's just ludicrous. I mean, thank God we haven't got that kind of. I mean, we can be a little bit critical about Ashton and how he presents himself sometimes. Yeah. But at least we're not in that world.
No, we never will be. No, never will be. Yeah, interesting. I'm a little bit.
What did you make of the strip yesterday, by the way? Just being mentioned there, and it's the new third strip.
Yeah, Leighton says, love the new third kit. It represents our style of football, dull and grey.
I actually think it looks really good. I thought the third strip might have the Suffolk punch in isolation. You see this a lot, don't you? Actually, talking to Sheffield United, they just have the blades, don't they? The blades on the swords of the badge. On their, they certainly did last season. So that seems to be quite a trend. I think it looks pretty good. But again, why? Could have just won all red yesterday.
I didn't like it.
You're not a fan?
No, I didn't like it.
It's a little nod to the blackout kit of Sheeran's one, isn't it? With a nice little bit of sky blue trim to it. I think it looks all right, actually. I don't mind it, personally. But again, it's just fleecing the fans, isn't it? Could have won all red yesterday. What do they need a black kit for?
I didn't like it because I haven't got a background in the colour of it yet, so I can't match up the show's colour with exactly. So that's now giving me more work to do. Cheers. But no, in all seriousness, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that great. It was a kit, and we didn't.
It's not needed, though, is it? You won red yesterday. The one you've just launched.
Do you know, it's funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. I had a jacket when I was at 12 or 13 in those colours.
Did you?
I wish I'd kept it. I mean, it wouldn't fit me
Yeah.
now, obviously.
No, but at
You
least
know,
it'd be on brand.
Yeah, I could have pretended, stuck a town badge on it with some sellotape and could have pretended it was some training gear. I've never actually owned any training gear, I don't think. Have you ever owned any training gear?
Yeah. I didn't used to like having, certainly with Magical Vegas was on there. I was never buying a shirt with that rubbish on there.
No one.
So I would have got like a training top then. I wasn't really a fan of the TXU Energy, was it?
I used to like those. And Power Gen.
Yeah, I used to get the training gear then.
Eon.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Power Gym was good, wasn't it? Green King was the best sponsor.
Yeah, but this goes back to the conversation we always have, Matt. You're saying it was good. You're not saying it was good because it was good. You're saying it's good because when you're thinking back to it, you're thinking of Jim Magilton, Sylvan Legwinski.
Yeah, of course.
Moments. Yeah, moments that make those shirts appear nice. So in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, you'll look back at the year we got promoted twice and you'll go, that kit was brilliant. That kit was brilliant. The year we were relegated, you'll look back and go, yeah, I didn't really like that.
That's why I said to you, anyone wearing that relegation top from the Championship to League One shouldn't be allowed into Portman Road. I stand by that. Should be on the old band thing, with the big red cross through it.
What, the Magical Vegas one?
Yeah. No one needs reminding of that season.
No. What, the year that Paul Hurst arrived, Martin Waghorn left, Joe Garner left, that season.
Yeah.
See,
that's bad. That was bad ownership as well, wasn't it? It was certainly not in that space. Not yet, anyway.
No. But again, it's the memories that the shirt brings back as it is, for my opinion, instead of the shirt that you think, oh yeah, that's because football shirts by and by are largely the same. Let's be honest.
With a few design tweaks, obviously.
Yeah, a few, but by it's not like it's a big fashion of.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? If you wear stripes, it's like Sheffield Wednesday. People turn about Wednesday there, or Newcastle, or whoever, or Sunderland. It's very difficult to have a different strip each season, isn't it? Because you're forever bedded in on the stripes.
See, I always like the ones with the collars. They're the ones that always stand out to me because that used to be back in the day. I used to wear the town shirt over a jumper with the collar, and then going out, I'd take the jumper off, put it over the top, and it'd be a white collar. It'd look like a shirt. It'd be great for going out after the game.
There you go. You see, dual purposes.
Exactly. It saved me a shirt, saved me the washing, and I can go straight from the football. Happy.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to bring up from yesterday? We're 48 minutes in. Don't forget we are part with Stowmarket Osteopaths. I go there myself for osteopath services, but they also offer physiotherapy. Been going in Suffolk since 1985. If you want professional experience care, which of course you do, give them a call on 01449 613 633 and tell them the Government Talking Town has sent you. Stowmarket Osteopaths. Anything else? Because look,
I think we've exhausted it. We've done well for a game that was only 80 minutes.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about how we're playing.
Yes, certainly away from home. Certainly away from home is the concern for me, because if you're not picking up points away from home, you're going to be reliant on your home form. And Portman Road has not been a fortress for us in the last year. So
no.
There's a concern there. There's a concern.
Yeah, and look, whether the game's replayed, whether it's awarded to Blackburn, whatever, right? Can't affect it. So and it's one of those situations where you probably should have done more in the 80 minutes you were given. Right, but you didn't.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at those 80 minutes. Look at the Preston 90 minutes. Look at the Derby 90 minutes. You can take into account Sheffield United. Of course, that was a game that was competitive, and we played it, and we won 5-0. That's the good town. But so far in 5 games, we've seen more underwhelming town. I won't say bad. Some would say bad. I'll say underwhelming. Than we have good. And that's concerning.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that one. Yeah. I mean, look, as fantastic as the win against Sheffield United was, it was Sheffield United at the bottom of the table and they're pointless.
Yeah.
Not pointless as in existence, but in the division. So, like you say, everyone's beaten them. Even Charlton go to Bramwell Lane yesterday, pick up a win right last knock-ins, don't they? 90th minute, wherever it was, to take 3 points there. So we've only done what everyone else was doing. It was just a bit of a statement win in terms of how we did it, and Philogene got the hat-trick and everything. But that kind of performance yesterday, albeit very difficult conditions, chalk and cheese, really. Like Talksport was saying, a very lacklustre performance from Ipswich on the back of a stupendous win over Sheffield United a week ago. Somehow we've got to get out of that. It's a rut we're in, and we've seen it right from the start of the season in all of our away games.
We have. Blizzard, I will absolutely put out an updated Discord link. I thought that was going to stay forever. I misread what would happen. I thought if I put the link in the community post, it would last forever, but clearly it doesn't. So apologies. There will be a new one. But you can always, there'll be a new one. I've dropped a link. I'll have one or two people come on if anybody wants to come on towards the end of the show. For the next week coming up, we've also got our match preview show. We'll have our Friday show. There are two people wanting to join. First of all, it is Colin. Let me switch overlays because this isn't going to go to plan. There we go. Colin, bring you in. What are your thoughts, Colin? Welcome in. Welcome in. What are your thoughts?
Colin.
Well, my thoughts are, obviously on the game yesterday, whether Matt's made me feel a little bit better, really, because I did text, a few people this morning. I was more and a little bit worried after I saw one or two people bringing it up on the phones about EFL rules, whether that game would be replayed. But after hearing a good friend Matt, it's made me feel a damn sight better. But I can see it from a Blackburn point of view, Gov and Matt. You'd be booming, really. But yeah, I'm absolutely totally in agreement with you, Gov. Well, Matt said it as well, but you more so, I think, Gov. But yeah, concerned is the word, isn't it? I'm just, I'm concerned that we're playing. I mean, that game was so, although I didn't obviously go because to the Preston game, but my Ian went to that game, and that, those two games seem to be so mirror image. We conceded a penalty in both.
Yep.
We obviously lost 1-0 at Preston. Was 1-0 down yesterday. Those two games were very mirror image, and seems a little bit concerning to me,
And Derby wasn't great. That was it. I know you through your health you didn't go, but that equally wasn't like it was a 5-star performance. Birmingham, you could argue. I mean, there's a lot of factors in that opening game of the season, but again, it wasn't, as you would expect or would hope. So yeah, I think a lot of people with you. I mean,
I'm kind of, the game's coming up. I think Portsmouth. Shaughnessy pulled his hamstring yesterday. He's a very good Portsmouth defender. He won't be playing next week. He's done his hamstring just as Sheffield Wednesday broke to score the second goal. So he certainly won't be playing. Chaplin won't be playing. Let's just hope that Chaplin don't give too many of our plans.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
Are there many to share?
But I'm quite confident that we'll beat Portsmouth. Even if it's 1 or 2-0, I'm quite confident we'll get the 3 points there. I've got my ticket for Bristol. I'm going down for a couple of days with my dear wife to see a good friend of my wife's who lives in Bristol. I'm going down for a couple of days to Bristol. Hopefully the weather will be a bit better than Blackburn. Last time we went down, we had a lovely time down by the marina down there. It's lovely in Bristol. But I totally agree with Matt, what he said earlier on. That will not be an easy game. They're a very good side, Bristol City, and especially Ashton game. Sorry, Matt?
They're undefeated at the moment. 1-3, drawn 2, I think. Lost none. It's going to be a tricky game.
Are we not learning that every game is tricky at this level?
Exactly.
We feel like we've forgotten that. It's a difficult league. It is what it is. You can't keep putting that excuse up. Every game's going to be difficult. Every team wants to win, but Town need to up their game.
And there's one of our dear friends from over the border, Nigel Krask, whatever his name is. Nigel, he comes. I have a bit of banter with him. He comes in on our chat. He's a dear. He comes in with some great banter, and it isn't offensive or anything like that. And I have quite a little bit of banter with him. And I've had a little bit of banter with him today, and I think somebody else, but I think it was Trevor, put in the chat, can we play you at Carrow Road? And I think that's a really good shout, right now. Yeah, boys, I think you'd agree. I mean, I think in 2 weeks' time, I think we'd probably prefer to be playing in the yellow half. Would you not agree?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's what I said earlier in the show. Yeah, their home form has not been great.
Can I just say, I think the booing I've got a lot of time for Liam Manor, and I think a lot of people have. He's had an awful time over the last 18 months, and he's obviously ex-Ipswich, as is George's son-in-law, Chris Hogg. And I've got a lot of time for both them lads, especially Liam. And I think I'm only going on what I heard. Obviously, I was travelling home yesterday. But some of the things, like some of the people have been telling me what I've been thrown at Liam. Come on. They've played 6 games. All right, they lost 3 home games. I get that.
Let me counter that. Let me counter that, Colin.
Yes, mate.
If Kieran McKenna had left this summer and gone
Yeah.
to Brentford, and there'd be a new man in charge at Ipswich Town Football Club,
Yeah.
and you are where you are right now, how you're
Yeah.
playing and how many points,
Yeah.
what would be your point of view as a Town fan? Because it's very similar to their situation. He's a new manager bringing in a new
I get that.
But obviously, you've got the added expectation of being a Premier League side just relegated. Where would your mindset be?
Well, I'd probably certainly be worried, but I think after 6 games of Portman Road, I wouldn't be booing that new manager.
Fair point.
Because I don't do that anyway, Gov. First and foremost, that's one thing, and I'm sure you don't, and I'm sure Matt doesn't.
No, I've been known to boo. I've been known to boo. I can't run from that. I've been known to boo quite a few times.
But anyway, just on the record, I think I sent it to you today. I get my dear old paper on a Sunday. I still love my paper, and I love the goals on Sunday. That's a fantastic thing, the goals on Sunday. And and every week in the middle, because come on, we're going to have our little dig now, right? There's a certain person. This is very, very, very not nicely put, if you like. Every now and again, I have a cheeky little look over, let's just say over the border. And there's a certain couple of people, I think we know who we're talking about, who do a podcast for that lot. Okay? And one of them in particular, I think you know where I'm going, and one of them in particular is a little bit harsh on us lot, a little bit more harsh than you or Matt are. Let's put it that way. Okay? Towards them. Right. Okay. I think we're getting where we're going, right? They have said on numerous occasions about, and they're quite right if he ever watches this, about our attendance, how they fluctuate. Right. Okay. Well, I think we know where we're going. Like I said, we're talking about 10, 15 years ago when our gates were 12, 13, 14,000.
How many were there yesterday?
Sorry?
How many were there yesterday at Carrow Road?
Yeah, 26,000, right? But anyway, the flashback in the paper today was a game between Norwich and Wrexham in 1982 when I think we were UEFA Cup holders. Right, okay, but that's by the by.
That's a nice subtle little jab, isn't it?
Listen, Gov, they were in Division 2. Right? This is fact. They won 4-0. Keith Burchin scored one of the goals, ex-Ipswich, right? And the gate was just over 11,000.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, but this is like just a little reminder to a certain person who always goes on about our gates. I mean, they seem to think that they've been getting 26,000 or above for about the last 100 years.
Yeah, well, they haven't, have they?
Well, they haven't.
No. Fair point. Colin, we hope you're feeling better. We thank you for coming on the show.
I'm feeling a lot better, thank you, Gav. A lot better. Thank you.
It's good to see you. All right, you look
after. See you, Colin. Take it easy.
Take care. Lovely. Take care. Bye-bye.
Colin mentioned there, Matt, about where you go. Mentioned plans and Chaplin, and lots of comments in the chat coming through about no plan B, what plans, it's all predictable. Sort of later says Townside play predictable, slow, team sit back and wait for the inevitable mistake from our defence. Are you ever going to get a second formation from Kieran McKenna? Or do you have to give up that hope?
I think you've probably got to give up that hope, really. You've not seen it throughout his whole tenure here, so I don't think it's gonna change, to be honest with you.
No.
I find it frustrating, quite frankly, but like we said earlier at the top, you're now seeing Arteta and Guardiola play a slightly different mode of their normal tactics, hitting it long to Gorkrez, Haaland and the like. whether or not Kieran will look at that and think, because he seems to be on trend with tactics.
Yeah,
because that's certainly been the way he's wanted to play. It's certainly emulated how those top Champions League managers have done it. So we'll have to wait and see. But he's got to do something to get us out of the rut of these really disappointing away performances. There's no getting away from that. Unless Ipswich can get out of that, they're not going to be promoted.
It's going to be a very long season. Yeah. Look, there's two things I would say about that. First of all, on Arsenal, I'm always impressed with, despite having the players they've got and the investment in the summer that they make every single year, that they clearly put so much stock into set pieces, because it's now really becoming, if it wasn't before, acutely aware, particularly at the top end of the game, that those little moments can make the difference between walking away with 3 points and 0 points. And I'm always hugely impressed with what they come up with from their set piece routines. And that's why I'm so harsh on our own set pieces, because they can be the difference in real tight games or games with bad weather or whatever, between a winner and a loss or a point. And we need to get so much better at that. And second of all, I would say the addition of Akpom actually has brought about, and I'll have to go back and watch each game he's played in, but from first viewing, really brought about a slight change in our shape at times, where it does really look like we go to a more traditional 2, with Akpom and Hurst side by side, be that in the press or when we have the ball or our transition or whatever. And I'm just wondering whether that addition of Akpom in that 10 allows that freedom in game to go from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-4-2 and play them closer together. I'd have to go back and watch each game in its entirety. But it has looked like that from the first viewing, that at times you could argue that is a 2-man forward line. Yeah,
I get that. Yeah, I know. I noticed that a little bit against Sheffield United. I mean, the inclusion of Akpom gives you the physical presence, doesn't it? That the 10 has never really had in previous seasons, be it Chaplin or Smodix. I know Smodix is quite well built, but he's still quite diminutive. As I said before, Akpom's built like a middleweight, light heavyweight boxer. I mean, he gives you that physicality. So, I mean, that's good. I mean, it's a slight tweak, isn't it, to what you see throughout the 90 minutes on the formation, if that's happening. I did notice that against Sheffield United myself. We'll just have to wait and see. And we know he can play in that 2 anyway. He's done it before. Let's wait and see. But really, the crux of the issue is getting the ball out, how we're playing out and getting the ball through the midfield. Because I don't think Matasiwa and Cahuste as the 2 is going to give you. Well, certainly you're not going to get the creativity from Cahuste, which is why I'm desperate to see Nunes, as I said at the top, because I think he'll be the game changer there for us, and will give you that set piece threat that you're looking for. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of answers at the feet of Nunes right now.
Absolutely. Well, this is it. And obviously other players that we've brought in, like in terms of, can we get him in, and if so, what's he going to be like in the Championship for the first time? Don't forget, we have got a speak pipe now. You can leave a voicemail. It's very similar to a WhatsApp voice message. You just hit the record. You say what you want to say and you send it. It can be done anytime. I'll review it every day and then we'll play them on the show. If not this one, Wednesday show, etc., etc. We've got one here.
We play when we want. We play when we want. Ipswich Town, we play when we want.
Obviously, in reference to yesterday's game being abandoned. Mike D likes our new Speak Pipe edition. Thank you, Mike. Feel free. And it can be on any time. 2 a.m, 9 at night, whenever you want to do it. David Wright in our chat says, I hope it's the real, the David Wright. That'd be great, wouldn't it? If it was the David.
Who's David Wright? Which David Wright you've
right back for Ipswich.
Who, sorry?
David Wright played right back for Ipswich.
Yeah. Now you're going way back now.
I know,
but out there, didn't you?
I once met him, in Aldi. David Wright. I did.
But he went to Norwich, didn't he, and came back to us?
He did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't think it
solid, wasn't he? Solid right back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very solid right back. But obviously it was. I don't think it is the David Wright, but it could be. We'll read it. David Wright, you weren't great, but we could even jump at half time. Let's get some perspective. The weather didn't suit our passing style, and we've only lost 1 game. That is also a very positive reflection on how we play.
That is papering over some cracks, I feel, right now. I mean, I like the look, because I got called optimistic the other week, didn't I?
Unbelievably so, you did. Yeah.
Positive. Yeah. So I like the optimism, but that's only going to take you so far, because if we keep having the same issues, we're going to be losing 1-0 constantly, and the weather ain't going to be saving us in away games.
Very true. All right, Frank, you're going to end the show for us. What's on your mind today?
Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot of talking points there. I'll try and get through them as quickly as I can. I would have liked to seen Kiefer Moore come back. That's somebody
I agree.
influenced that. I thought
agree.
he did not much wrong at Coleman Road. And let's face it, he even scored in the Premier League. He scored 2 goals against Tottenham, I recall. So anyway, I don't know why we didn't get him back. That's a strange one, because I think he would have provided us with a few goals. I think Chuba Akpom will come good, Matt. I really do. I think it's just a matter of time. You just have to adapt to the system. I think we are playing as almost twin strikers, because he's a natural number 10 and he's pushing more forward. And when he does come good, it'll be very good for Ipswich Town. I'm still remaining fairly positive. We were lucky to get away with it yesterday. I've got a little poem to end on you might like. I don't normally do it when we don't complete a game, but it's called Singing in the Rain. It's only a short one. The rain came amidst our pain. Jacob Greaves, he got sent off. The conditions were atrocious, and the ref, he could F off. Fairlong battled gallantly, but he gave away a pen. And 1-0 down, as the rain came down, we were losing once again. But the football gods had a part to play, as the ref took players inside. The rain was unrelenting, and there was no place left to hide. After much deliberation, the game it was annulled. And this time Lady Luck had shined, and our hopes had not been dulled.
Very good, Frank. Very good. Very
talented. Bravo. If only our attacking play was as good yesterday.
Yeah, that creative. Yeah.
Before I depart, what do you think? The red card, now, somebody pointed out with the red card, if it's not for dangerous play, you only get a 1-game suspension and not a 3-game suspension. I don't know if that's accurate. If it is, it's good news to get Jacob Greaves. And the second thing is, does anybody agree with me that if we have this replayed game, it should be 10 against 11?
No.
Because we had a player sent off.
No. As wonderful as your poem is, I'm not having that take.
No.
But look at it from a Blackburn point of view just for a second. You know,
I'm not a Blackburn fan, so I'm not.
No, but we just have to be balanced, don't we, a little bit on this show? Well, I think personally, anyway, it should be 10 against 11. That's the only change I'd make, because we had a player sent off. Although you could argue that Jacob Greaves was sent off because under normal circumstances he wouldn't have made that tackle. But he is dubious. He's a vulnerable sort of player. He seems nervous ever since we got him. He doesn't fill me with assurance when I see him defending anyhow, and he's not really somebody who's even good in the air, not when it comes to set pieces like corners, when he seems to never hit the ball on header on target. That's just my opinion, but we're a broad church of different opinions, and I hope that other people will respond to that 10 against 11 notion.
Let us know in the chat if you agree. Frank, I'm sorry it took so a while to get to you, but we do appreciate you coming on.
See you,
always.
Frank. Okay?
I'll put you an email to see how things are going for you, but you look after yourself, all right?
Thank you, man. Take care, everyone.
Cheers,
bye.
Frank. All the best. You know what? There's some great balanced YouTube channels out there. You know, you've got Ben Bloom for one, you've got others. You want balanced views? There you go, too, people. You want town views? You come here, because I ain't bothered about balanced. I just want to know what's best for town. That's all I care about.
Yeah, and the decision will come down to competitive fairness, as we said at the top, and it will just be replayed 11v11 across 90 minutes. That is exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it was the other way around, I'd be screaming for it not to be replayed.
Yeah, but we'll just have to suck it up.
What? I'm a town fan. I want what's best for Ipswich Town Football Club. I ain't bothered about anything else. But there we go. We're done for the day. We've gone over the time I thought we'd do, but I thought it'd be good to get some people on the show.
Very good.
It's been a brilliant show. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget Town All in Cap. We're partnered with Match Bingo. But for now, we're done. Unless something major happens, which obviously it isn't, and we don't foresee it. But we're done for today. I'm off to play Courier for my afternoon. How's your afternoon looking?
Yes, of course you haven't you? You've got to do the pickup and everything. Just to give everyone a reminder, Martin, if you're not a member of the Discord, you don't get to see the Friday night show, do you? Which is an hour of top quality content featuring me and him. So make sure you subscribe to the Discord.
If you're not a member, so if you're not a Talking Town member, it's $4.99 and T's and C's when you sign up. That's one of the perks. Member only shows. And we had a great show on Friday. We had a great.
Oh, we covered all sorts. We got into geography, the River Gipping.
The river, yeah. You were surprised to find that the River Gipping was connected to the River Rat.
I thought you were making this up at this point. The River Rat is actually a thing. We'll get that. If you want more of this conversation, you're gonna have to watch us on Friday.
I mean, it's not a great advert, that is it? We've not really. I mean, we haven't sold anything there. Let's be honest. But
put in the comments. Am I the only person who's never heard of the River Rat?
When will Collins wants to know before we leave? When will the decision be made? He's asking you as the XFA.
Do you know what? I don't know, actually. I would imagine pretty quickly. They're going to have to shoehorn it into the fixture list, aren't they? So somehow. So I'd imagine it'd be this week.
Yeah. All right. Lovely. We're done for the day. Like and subscribe. Join us Wednesday. But until then, take care. God bless. All the best. Bye. You've reached the end. Thank you so much for watching. Hit here to subscribe. It's totally free. And hit here for more Talking Town videos. I'll see you on the next one.